I have the honor of talking about this book and its author. 6 years ago, the utilities in the city of Flint, Michigan were updated to include hot and cold running poison. In an act of equal portions ineptitude and malfeasance, the city switched the water supply from the Detroit system to that of the visibly polluted Flint River, despite easily apparent potential for public harm. In one of the worst human-inspired public health crises in the nation's history, 12 people died and untold numbers of children have been exposed to toxic levels of lead and other contaminants. This is the portion of the story we know. What is less known is the background of the city in the headlines, the civic and financial crises that threatened its well-being even before its water was poisoned, and the day-to-day accretion of outrages, the inscrutable, infuriating small steps that compounded the suffering of the city like interest on a usurious loan. This is the story Anna Clark tells. We only think we know Flint's story, but the poisoned city is key to anyone who wishes to truly understand what happened there, and chillingly, the ways in which Flint's troubles are hardly unique. I passed a woman on the street today who wore a jacket with the words, "What doesn't kill you will only fuck you up mentally." In recent years, as Anna writes, Flint was thumped with the Great Recession, the mortgage crisis, a major restructuring of the auto industry, and a crippling drop in tax revenue. If you wish to kill a city, that is the recipe. The pain inflicted upon Flint has not killed it, yet its suffering should F with all of us mentally and emotionally. This is what the democratic empathy we call civic concern requires of us. More simply, this is what it means to have a conscience. I'm honored to be able to thank Anna Clark for acting as our collective conscience by presenting her with the 2019 Sidney Hillman Book Award.
I can't believe I'm here. I am so grateful to the Hillman judges, to the whole team at the foundation for making it possible for us all to be here this evening and celebrate journalism for the public good. I'm grateful to all the other reporters in this room who I have quite literally learned from over the years. You've been mentors to me, even though we were just meeting. And I'm thankful too for folks in the room who helped make the book possible, including Riva and the folks at Metropolitan and Leslie, just the whole team who have made this to help tell this story. And most especially, I'm grateful to the folks in Flint, Michigan, who have trusted me with their stories, even as there are so many unresolved questions for the city, for their own lives. I've had a really non-traditional path in journalism. I've never had a staff job or an internship or went to journalism school. I have always wanted to be a writer, but I've always struggled with how to balance storytelling and social conscience, right? It seems like you're being pulled in different directions. One's in the community, one's like, the life of a contemplative. And it can sometimes feel ridiculously indulgent to be sitting at home thinking through words one at a time. And while working on this book, that really kind of came to a head for me, this was an entire city that was affected by this. It's nearly 100,000 people who are residents, and I felt this responsibility to hear every one of those stories, which was just impossible, right? And at a certain point, I had to stop the reporting and go home and start writing, and I felt really plagued by guilt with that. How do you find that synchronicity where storytelling, comes combined with social conscience? And I did my best with this project. I feel really grateful to be in this room with a lot of people who are very dedicated to the idea that storytelling doesn't take you out of a community, but in fact is very much of the community. And I hope that, that we're not, that this ideal of the common good is something that we can come back to again and again, because we're seeing really the stakes for not just Flint. And this was in a city right in the midst of one of the greatest freshwater resources on the planet that was poisoned by its own drinking water. And I don't think we should need something that dramatic to shake us up to care about each other again. Anyway, thank you so much. I'm grateful to be here.